how short your life really is. So many times you hear that image, that the Buddhist practice is a form of self-therapy. We have all these hidden wounds inside, and we need to bring them out into the open so they can heal. That's part of what the practice does, but it's not just therapy. It's also a skill that you're developing, and it requires time. It requires effort. There's a clock ticking. You don't know when it's going to ring, or maybe an hourglass would be a better image. The sand is running out. You don't know how much sand is left, but it's definitely running out. And so you want to make the best use of the time you have. The therapy side, of course, is that if you've got wounds that make it difficult to settle down in the present moment, you have to deal with them. But you don't deal with them in the sense of thinking everything through and coming to your grand conclusion. You deal with them more in terms of noticing how you fabricate things, particularly how you fabricate suffering in the present moment, and learning how to do that fabrication in a new way. This is why we focus so much on the breath. The breath is the part of your experience of the body that can be made the most sensitive to the mind. When you breathe in one way, it affects how you feel in your body. When you breathe in another way, it affects you differently. You begin to realize the extent to which you are shaping your experience right here, right now. And if it's causing unnecessary suffering, well, you can shape it in another way. You don't have to continue with your old habits. That's the important message of the Buddha's teachings on fabrication. There's a lot of freedom right here if you learn how to master these processes. So don't be afraid of the idea that you're fabricating your experience. Some people think, well, that means it's all artificial. Or, if you're making it up, it's not really there. That's not the point. The point is that you have the freedom to create suffering or to create well-being. You can choose which one you want. And the problem is, we do create a lot of suffering. It's our unskillful habit. We can't blame it all on society. We can't blame it all on our parents. We can't blame it on the environment in general. It's our own unskillful way of shaping things right here, right now. But if you realize you're free to change, that's a good thing. It means there's hope. The question is, do you have the time to master this process? That's where the clock ticking comes in. You can't say, well, I'll practice when I retire, or I'll practice after I go to this place, or finish this project or that project. Because the time may run out, and the Buddha's teachings require time. They require your dedicated efforts. It's not the case that all you have to do is, say, accept things as they are and everything's going to be fine. If it were that easy, the Buddha wouldn't have had to teach for 45 years. He would have said, just accept the way things are, and that would have been it, end of story. But that wasn't the end of the story. He taught the Four Noble Truths, which focus precisely on that question. We're causing ourselves suffering, and yet we can stop. We can master the factors that lead to suffering, and we can develop the factors that lead to the end of suffering. It's a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. You have to be observant. You have to learn how to experiment. You have to listen to the instructions from people who have gone before you, particularly from the Buddha himself, and then figure out how to apply them to your own case. This is why you need to meditate every day. And not just for a token 5 minutes. You need to give it time. One of the biggest mistakes people make in their practice is to just give it the leftover time in the day. You know what leftover time is like? It's the time when you can't do anything else, so you squeeze in some meditation. If that's all you can manage on some days, that's better than nothing. But if that's your regular approach, you're not giving the practice the attention it needs. We're talking about your main problem, the one that underlies every other problem in life. Your own unskillful way of shaping your experience, your unskillful reactions to things. If you don't straighten this out, then no matter how many other problems you solve in life, you'll come back to this one again and again and again. So you want to give time to this skill, developing your powers of mindfulness, alertness, ardency, concentration, discernment. These are qualities that need to be strengthened in the same way that any skill, like weaving or carpentry or playing the piano, has to be strengthened. You have to be here with this, day in, day out. Of course, we each have other responsibilities as well, but if you put them totally first, you never get around to this. The day will come when you can't do it anymore. The day will come when you die, and then you'll have to leave everything else behind anyway. So ask yourself, what do I have that's really valuable to take with me? The Buddha's answer is that it's the skills you develop in training your mind, because they shape how you experience things here, and they'll shape your experiences on into the future too. So the clock is ticking. You want to use that awareness of the time ticking to motivate yourself. Don't let it get you depressed. Let it push you to practice. You've got to be up for the challenge of looking at what you're doing in the present moment, seeing where it's causing stress or pain, and then figure out how to change. Don't expect to get it right the first time, or the second time, or the 100th time, or maybe even the 1000th time. It's something you work at again and again, and over time, your powers of observation get sharper, your sense of how to adjust things gets more refined, more precise, more intuitive. That's when you start seeing results. It's important not to get discouraged in the meantime. Keep reminding yourself, here's the problem that underlies all the other problems I've ever faced. If I can solve this, there's a huge payoff. So if it takes time and dedication, it's worth it. And especially when you remind yourself that the sand in the hourglass is running out, you realize, I really can't afford to wait. This is why the Buddha emphasized heedfulness so much, realizing that pain and danger can come at any time, but there is a way out. You've got the potential in your mind, the potential to develop the factors of the path, and you've got the time right now, but you don't know how much time. So while you do have it, give this your best attention. If you need therapy, this is the best therapy. If you need a skill, this is the best skill. It covers everything: your emotional issues, your existential issues, the question of life and death. It's all there in the practice. Therefore, look carefully at your day. Where can you give more time to the practice? Where can you focus more attention on the breath? You've got the breath all day, but so often we push it to the background to focus on other things. If you realize how important it is, you can learn how to do other things while keeping the breath in mind at the same time. That way, you bring your practice into every situation, not just on the cushion, but while driving, while working, while talking, while walking. The more continuous your mindfulness can be, the quicker you'll learn and the more solid your skill will become. That's how you make the most of the time you've got. Instead of letting the clock or the hourglass loom over you as something threatening, you use it as a reminder that this is your priority. You keep at it because the skill you develop will repay you many times over. And when the clock finally does run out, that skill is what you'll take with you. The ability not to suffer in spite of the toughest things life can throw at you, in spite of the toughest things death and rebirth can throw at you. So remember, the clock is ticking and you've got work to do.